Basically, there are three environments: solid, fluid, and gaseous. As a community, all the living beings are comfortably created to maintain their lives in the gaseous environment. Human's life is comfortably changing within the gaseous environment. The soul of the human body is healthily maintained within the fluid environment. And the earth's routine are balanced by the solid environment. As we become wiser and clever with the continuous learning process, then only we can able to understand the three environments clearly. There are three universal laws if you observe carefully. Solids settle down and makes the base anywhere. Fluids runs the life, and the air maintains the both. So let us start our journey to the center of the human body. Let us start our journey from the surface of the human body, the skin. In comparison to the animals, humans are beautifully covered with a colored skin. Hair is limited to only at certain regions. Stratum corneum, stratum lucidum, stratum granulosum, preaxial layer, basal layer, and the dermal papilla. These are the basic parts of the epidermis, which is composed of stratified squamous cells. The next layer is the dermis, made up of collagenous fibers, which has got water holding capacity. Hair develops from the epidermis, and the male hormone testosterone makes the characteristic temporal alopecia. Sweat glands, where the aldosterone, a hormone, acts on it to save the loss of sodium from the body. Sebaceous gland secretes the sebum, oily in nature, prevents evaporation of the water from the body, and apocrine glands produces the odor and attracts the opposite sex. Skin is different at the 9 junctions. It turns to travel inside as the mucosa. So these junctions are the eyes, where you can see the conjunctiva, ears, nostrils, mouth, urethra, vagina, and the anus. develops from the epidermis. And you know very well about the functions of the skin. It regulates the body's temperature. It has got sensory perception, protects from the sun rays, resists entry of microorganisms, balance the water loss from the body. Fat cells makes the beauty of the body if adequately distributed on the musculoskeletal base, or risks the body's life if excessively deposited in case of morbid obesity. Loose areolar cells and the deep fascia, which is composed of fibrous sheets. Sensory nerves that goes into the center of the brain. Touch, pressure, pain, temperature, vibration. Eyes. Retina will hold 12 millions of the rods which works in the dim light and 6 million cones which works in the bright light. When the light falls on these receptors, there happens a photochemical reaction and a nerve impulse is generated through the optic nerve and the tracts. Ultimately, these red, blue, green colors are going to be visualized in your vertical cortex on the occipital lobe area number 17. Ear, olfaction, taste buds. Next junction, vagina, which leads to the birthplace. Urethra leads to the kidneys, where the blood filtering process happens to drain the waste products daily in the form of urine. Urethra also leads to the prostate and seminal vesicles into the tubular vas deferens, attached to the factory of sperms. Anus leads to the large and small bowels, where the food is processed for the energy from glucose molecules, for building the molecules from proteins and precursors of many hormones from the fats. Bile from the liver, pancreatic juice from the pancreas daily mixes with the food emulsion to help in the proper makeup of the succus centricus. Enzymes actively participate in the metabolic pathways of the carbohydrates proteins and the lipids. Waste end products of the food are expulsed out of the body. Skeletal muscles, or the maxilla and mandible, that means front of the skull, creates the facial expressions that will signal your language to others. So it is a cycle of action, reaction, and the action again. Skeletal muscles over the bones and the joints moves the lungs and moves the extremities, and a person can work for his job. Heart, a special structure, dynamically supplies the life-maintaining oxygen and nutrients to each and every cell of the body. With the arteries and the veins. Now we have reached the center of the human body, that is the red bone marrow. So the red bone marrow is present only in the flat bones like cranial bones, ribs, sternum, vertebrae, pelvic bones, and ends of the long bones. Red bone marrow is the center of the human body. It consists of large number of sinusoids, adventitious cells, blood forming cells in between the adventitious cells. And this blood forming tissue will contain myeloid series where the red blood cells and the granulocytes like neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, monocytes, and the platelets are being produced. Center of the human body makes your spongy body spaces filled up with the blood and protects you with a defense mechanism with the help of lymph nodes and the spleen.